Hello and welcome to Talkin' Baseball. A lot of players have signed a lot of places. Didi, Joc, Eddie, Rosario, and more. Let's talk about it. Hello and welcome to Talkin' Baseball. My name is Jimmy. Sitting next to me is Jake. In California, we have Trevor, Plouffe, and behind the dish, producer, Big Baby David. It's Tuesday, but it feels like a Saturday for me because we're still amidst the snowstorm. Just makes me feel like it's a weekend. So weekend vibes for me, not for Trev because he's in sunny California. Jake, how are you feeling?
I'm good. I mean, Tuesday, worst day of the week, well-known fact. I'm doing all right, though. A legit snowstorm in the Northeast. It was a real one. It was coming down in droves, as the kids don't say, but doing well, man.
The older people say that.
The last, our Nolan Arenado reaction episode, one of I think our biggest episode of Talkin' Baseball ever, so thanks to the fans, thanks to baseball when it's hot in the street in a good way, and thanks for you guys. So appreciate everyone. And there's a ton of baseball movement in a classic baseball way. It's starting to get overshadowed by CBA and Mickey Callaway being the worst, but a lot of good baseball to discuss, and I'm excited to do that with not only you, my friend James, going back to early high school, Big Baby David, my friend from recent years, but also Trevor Plouffe.
Wow.
Okay. Good to be with you guys.
I didn't know how to handle that one.
Yeah.
Very
I think it was
positive
nice.
today. You guys know that. I'm striving for positivity. My day got started off. What do you call it? On the wrong foot?
Wrong side of the bed.
Wrong. No,
Wrong
the
foot of
bed
the
was
bed.
not the problem.
Okay.
On the wrong foot. I don't know what you say. What do the old people say? You guys know that.
The snow's coming down in droves.
Droves.
Okay, yeah. But for me also, Jim, every day is the same. Ever since COVID happened in late February, early March, every day has been the exact same. So
Not
I'm
true.
used to it.
You're doing boot camp for adults now or whatever,
Yeah.
Daddy Fit Club.
Ooh, I did it this morning. I feel good.
You were
Starting
a
to
gopher
look real nice
hunter,
with my shirt off.
and now
What?
you're a raccoon hunter. Did you get this raccoon?
He hasn't visited again. I'm not going to kill this raccoon, guys. I want everyone to know that I'm not going to kill this raccoon. I'll do whatever I can to humanely get it from ruining my sod.
I had a raccoon in New Jersey when I lived in the beach, and our garbage cans were right to the left of sitting on the couch. There's a window to my left, and then the deck there, and then right off the deck was the garbage cans. And it's a summer beach house. The house had never been lived in the winter. And I heard this giant thud, and I looked left, and it was just a big, fat raccoon going through my garbage. I hate critters and rodents of all kinds. I got rid of it. I went and bought new garbage cans that have lids that I bungee jumped shut so that raccoon couldn't get in, and then he never came back. My trash.
I saw that.
It's mine.
You sent us a picture of those. Awesome. That was a great little contraption you guys came up with because there was a window that you guys would put the trash out of, right? You didn't even have to go outside.
Yeah. That's awesome invention too.
Excellent.
Open the window, pull the bungee cord up, drop the trash in from the second floor. It's great.
I feel bad for this guy because all he's doing is looking for late night snacks. I mean, if someone was trying to kill me when I was going to look for late night snacks, I wouldn't be happy.
Well,
so
just hope Teddy doesn't sleepwalk at night because then he might find him. I slept walk at night when I was Teddy's age. Imagine a
I don't think
raccoon
he's gonna go
kidnapped me,
outside.
become a raccoon kid.
All right.
All right, there was a lot of news. We checked the thing, and the headlines are the Mickey Callaway stuff and the CBA stuff, and that's all really a downer, and we're going to talk about Mickey a little bit at the end of the show. But there was a lot of baseball movement. I kind of looked at the sheet, and I was like, oh, yeah, there is a lot we need to discuss. We're going to open it up by telling you our most recent patrons. Alex Demmer, Alexander Walters, Josiah Oltermolen, Peter Elliott, Katie Tripp, Colin Goon, Brandon Swist, Cam Ayers, Eric Weaver, T-Jack, Mako Watanabe,
Watanabe, yeah.
Mako Watanabe, Jonathan the Mod Richter, Mario Ramos, Joan Adams, Austin Diaz, Lexi Castrillon, Ed Esposito, Christopher Reynolds, Gavin Watson, Mason Ferguson. Thank you very much to those fine folks. Our Patreon is pretty cool now. We got behind the scenes, special social medias just for patrons. We got discount codes on merch every single month and a bunch of other perks. So go to patreon.com/JomboyMedia and find out about it. Before we get into the new signings that we haven't talked about yet, we wanted to do a little house cleaning here. The Arenado trade became official, and they changed all the prospects. So the actual prospects besides Austin, how do you say his last name? Because everyone said we said it wrong last episode.
I think it's Gomer.
Gomer?
I mean, a double check, but.
Someone said that.
Were we saying Gomber?
No idea.
I don't think it's Gomber.
I don't know how to pronounce it.
It's Gomer.
And we should start putting these warnings in our episodes again. And it's not really a warning. It's kind of like pointing the finger at the audience. You don't know how to pronounce every Major League Baseball player's name, so why don't you shut your butts about it? Neither do we.
Yeah, I'm seeing Gomer.
There's like 1,000, 1,500 of them, whatever. So Gomer goes, and then all the other minor leaguers got switched out. Now it's Tony Losi, Eller High. What the fuck is that?
Hell or High Water.
Ella Horace Montero, Jake Somers. Doesn't change anything that we said from our reaction. So if you want to go listen to our reaction to that episode is up. We did touch on in that episode that Yachty and Wainwright are going back to St. Louis as well, which made us like St. Louis. That's official as well. Waino gets a 1-year, $8 million deal. And Yachty, they're like, yeah, he's coming back, but we don't know the scope of it yet. So that'll happen. So all of that was discussed last episode, but just a little house cleaning before we move forward. I want to start with Didi because we kind of ended the Arenado trade saying, well, if Trevor Story's going to get moved, maybe Didi's agent needs to move quick before teams start switching out and getting Story for $18 million instead of Didi. So Didi get locked up, returns to the Phillies, 2 years, $28 million. He was supposedly looking for $30 million, $15 a year. He gets $14 a year. Pretty good deal for Didi. The Phillies are getting the band back together. They got Realmuto. They get Didi. I kind of like what they're doing. I like Didi. We kind of said it just makes sense. Just go get Didi. They also signed Matt Moore. That's a name I haven't heard in a long time. And then once they have Didi to play shortstop now, and the Reds missed out on Didi. They were the other team that maybe was going to get him. The Phillies traded Kyle Holder to the Reds, who's a shortstop they picked up as a stopgap, a Rule 5 player, which I find interesting because now the Reds just traded for a guy that they may have to return to the Yankees in 3 weeks. Jake, that's everything in the scope of the Phillies world. What's your thoughts?
Phillies getting after it, along with that Arenado. Trev's Dick Monfort putting on a hell of a press conference right now as we record. Holy smokes. So for the Phillies, Jim, I'm tough on my guy Dombrowski. I always compare what Dombrowski does to playing a video game. They just sign the biggest free agents. He trades away his prospects, and he gets 3 years to go at it, and then he gets to turn off the Xbox and go away. I've decided this is going to be my final dance with Dombrowski. If he can do it with these Phillies, I'll give him all the credit in the world. We've got the Mets throwing money at people and going for it. The Braves got this team built up. The Nationals snagged the World Series, and they got dogs on that team. Phillies, they bring back Realmuto. They bring back Didi. That lineup is a problem. Every day that lineup is going to battle, especially if Alec Boehm can take it to the next level, which he kind of did last year. Excited for Philly fans. Matt Moore, you're right. That was a name for all you prospect huggers out there. Guy was a big-time prospect. At one time, he was the number 1 prospect in baseball, rated by MLB. He came up with the Rays and was good, and then a litany of injuries and just losing it led to a really weird career. He went overseas. He was healthy and kind of lights out. So it was like, all right, let's see it. So Phillies take a chance on the guy. If he can give them, 10-plus good starts this year, I think that's 10-plus starts. I don't even care in the result. That's kind of a win for them. So excited for Philly. Nola, Wheeler, Eflin, Velasquez, Moore, in that division.
Moore's their 5 right now?
They've got him listed as the 5 right now. I mean, they've got Spencer Howard, their top prospect, too, who should find his way into the rotation. But they've got a lineup. How can they pitch? How can they get around those Wheeler, Nola days? But, I mean, you should be excited as a Philly fan. You rework the bullpen. You know, you want to compare your team to last year, and I think they've gotten better, right?
Yeah, they also have Nova, non-roster. Like, he could win that 5th spot.
Yeah, I think their offense was, I think they scored the 5th most runs in baseball last year, so it wasn't an offensive problem last year. And all the guys, you're right, they're back with that lineup. I like the lineup. They had to figure something out with the bullpen because I think the bullpen was historically bad, like really, really, really bad. So they went out, they got Archie Bradley, Jose Alvarado. Who else did they bring over in the bullpen?
They got Bradley, they got Alvarado, and then Brogdon supposedly is up and coming with Neris.
They got a few guys that need to make the jump. Yeah, they got a few guys that need to help them out there. But you know, if this team was in the NL Central, we'd be like, hey, these guys are one of the favorites to win the NL Central. But they're in the East, and the East is crazy competitive this year. At least on paper, it is. We'll see how it turns out. But this team does. They check a lot of boxes for me. I tweeted that out that I think they could be World Series contenders. They're a move or two away from that, but they're positioned to go do it. There's still very good free agents out there. There's still trades to be had. That it seems like, like you're talking about Dave. They don't mess around. He goes and gets what he wants. So he knows they're not there yet. And I expect them to still continue to be active.
I'm a Dombro fan. I mean, I think I did a whole rant on here about how all these teams preaching sustained success over a World Series win is like, well, let's not value sustained playoff making over winning the World Series. Dombro's kind of the odd to get ball out. Everyone else is trying the Rays method of like, well, we'll just make it to the playoffs and then we'll see what happens because it's a crapshoot. Where Dombro's like, no, I'll win it, but it'll be at a big cost. I'd rather that. You want to win the World Series. So I'm a Dombro fan in a way. I get it's destructive afterwards, but as long as you win, Tigers didn't win, so it sucked over there.
Yeah, and that's the example you'd point to. it can also not work, and then that left the Tigers as a decade worth of kind of mad baseball, depending when these Tigers turn it around. So, be a good GM.
Hell of a team he put together, though.
Sure.
It's a great point because the Tigers are, they're not, the Phillies are not the Tigers of 2014-15. They're not that good, but they're constructed the same way where the Tigers' Achilles heel, like that was the best team in baseball. The Achilles heel was their bullpen. And for some reason, they just couldn't figure out how to address that. And there's no doubt in my mind that Dombrowski still thinks about that all the time. He put together a legit all-time great lineup and starting staff, but couldn't win because he didn't have a bullpen. There's no way that he goes into Philly and makes the same mistake. So I really wanted them to get Hendricks. Maybe that was too much of a price tag for them, but I just don't think he's done yet.
I want to see them get another starting pitcher. I mean, there's still guys out there, whether it's James Paxton, Taijuan Walker, Mike Leake, who took last year off, but if you look before that, the guy was an innings eater. Our guy Odorizzi's still out there who can still be a somewhat impact. Like if Jake Odorizzi comes on this team, he's their instant 3, and you can believe in him in a game 3 of a playoff game. Right now, they don't have that. So yeah, you could yell about a lot of teams needing pitching. I think if the Phillies added a third starter or another impact piece in the bullpen, a real piece, a Rosenthal, whoever it might be, then I can start talking myself into the Phillies a little more. But yeah, it seems like they're kind of running back last year, and that was kind of
The help in the bullpen helps. But yeah, one more bullpen, one more starter would be good. Their starting pitching was pretty good last year, if I remember correctly. It was the bullpen just blew it for them. Like the top 3 were really good. What's their payroll? They're at 152. So I mean, if they want to spend, they can spend. They got if they give Dombro keys to go spend, they can go pick up.
Odo would look good in that Phillies uniform too, Trev.
And there's a Sam Fold Odo connection.
Ooh.
Yes, forget Sam Folds, maybe he's not pulling the strings, but he's directing a little bit over there. So
Okay.
I'm excited to watch them again this year. It's just a tough division, man.
Phillies fans got to be excited because, as there was a point where they were like, is Realmuto not going to come back? And not only is Realmuto come back, but Didi comes back as well. And then they did get Archie Bradley, and they're piecing some stuff together. Matt Moore, huge.
Sure.
The football player, not the baseball player. That's who they picked up.
Ball
throwers. Professional throwers.
Throwers.
You think they've ever talked?
Have the Matt Moores talked? Yes.
Like an Instagram DM? Just like, sup?
A concert.
It'd be cool if their
For me, it
Instagram
was a
DMs were just like,
concert.
nice throw the other day. And then the other guy was like,
Nice arm.
like 3 weeks later, it's like,
Well, you've got a lefty and a righty.
Yeah.
I think it's probably like we should combine, LOL.
yeah.
Arm swap.
I think you just nailed it. No need to even dive deeper.
No, you don't want to overthink something like that. That's when you get into trouble.
Bunch of outfielders signed, Trev. Your dude, Eddie Rosario, goes to the Indians. Joc Pederson goes to the Cubs. Two teams that are like being weird. Let's trade you, Darvish, and get rid of Schwarber, but bring in Joc. Let's trade Clevenger and Lindor and Carrasco, but bring in Rosario. Two teams that are banking on expanded playoffs and saying, let's just be good enough that we're in a pennant race. And then if we win in the playoffs, that'd be great, but we just want to be in the hunt for a pennant race. That seems like what it is. But Jake and I were talking pre-show, Trev. Eddie Rosario joins the Indians. They're, unfortunately for the Indians front office, they're going to be good again. Now, I don't know how good, but they still got arms. And when you go down the lineup, they got bats. The top half of the lineup is still good for the Indians. What do you got on Rosario? He's your dude from Minnesota. Any thoughts?
I love him. I've spoke about him before on the program. He's just a solid baseball player. I don't know how else to describe him. I mean, there are times where he's going to look like, Eddie, what are you doing at the plate? Because he swings at a lot of pitches out of the zone. And I think people tend to remember those at bats. But if you go back to the last full season, the guy put up 30 and a hunch. That the guy's a stick, and he throws people out. Like his defensive metrics get brought down a little bit. I don't think the range is there, but he is one of the top outfield assist guys every single year. He can play a decent enough outfield that it's not going to hurt you, and he just hits.
I was going to ask you about the defense because it's kind of been a funny comparison with these three guys, Schwarber, Joc, and Eddie Rosario. Good bats. All the defensive metrics kind of poo-poo on all of them. Schwarber the worst. But I was going to ask you, because I don't really know. I don't watch day in, day out Rosario. Doesn't Schwarber have a good arm too? Is it like this? But he's not as... I really don't know. Because some Cubs fans will say Schwarber's not as bad as his metrics say. Eddie Rosario, the metrics say he's pretty not great out there. You're saying you're just bragging about his arm, so I'm going to guess he is.
He's not... Yeah, I don't really... I mean, look, we can talk about defensive metrics all day and what do they mean? Are they accurate? When I watch Eddie Rosario play, I don't think bad outfielder. He's going to have some hiccup and bad plays, just like he does at the plate. Like he's going to look bad sometimes, and that's what people remember. But the guy can go get it. He's not like he's not like a heavy set guy like Schwarber. Like he can still run a little bit. He throws people out. Sometimes he plays himself into that throw range, and maybe that's where he gets beat. He lets guys take extra bases because he's trying to throw them out. Maybe that's something he could work on to get those metrics better. But like I would have no problems sticking Eddie Rosario out there and relying on him, to play 162 out there.
Yeah,
he's just a ball player.
It's this weird, again, defensive metrics, and they're getting better every day. They're still not fully there yet, and I know some people will argue they are, and I'll tell you, well, just wait 3 years because they won't be. Wait 1 year and they won't be. It's different feelings. I mean, Schwarber came up as a catcher. So he ended up in the outfield, and I think he can make the play, but he's not making plays. I think Eddie Rosario, he's played a lot of innings in the outfield at this point. A fly ball gets hit to him, you're not nervous. I'm normally pretty tough on Billy Ripken. We almost kind of need to go back in our defensive thinking, because he was talking about the shortstop position, which me and Jim talk a lot with Gleyber Torres, and if he can stick there with our Talkin Yank stuff. And he said the best way to define a shortstop is when a two-hopper is hit in the 7th inning to them, do you start clapping or do you get nervous? And right now in Yankees land,
hey, that was our metric as well. Do you hold your breath on a 7th, 8th inning, 9th inning hit to the guy? Gleyber Torres last year, we held our breath like crazy.
Yeah.
Didi, we never did. That was kind of...
So I think Schwarber's got a little bit of the hold the breath still. Cubs fans, let me know, just because he hasn't had as much run out there with Pederson and Rosario. They've played a lot of innings in the outfield. They make your plays. I don't think they grade out pretty poorly, and I think if you have a special right fielder, you see the difference on a day-in, day-out basis. I don't know the best way to fully measure that, and I don't think a lot of MLB teams do at this point. With Rosario, your guy, Trev, I said this when he hit free agency, and I was mad about it. That dude has been in the heart of the Twins lineup, a Twins lineup that has done big things over the past few years. He's a guy you don't want to see at the plate. And, yes, some of the stats aren't there. He's not an on-base guy. Eddie wants to swing. And, some of the stats don't fully put up what Eddie Rosario does in a lineup. I think the top of that Cleveland lineup right now is really solid with Eddie in there. I think he knows all the pitchers in that division. I think he might remind Minnesota what he's done for them for a long time. And, the Indians are in this weird stage of, they've got a ton of young pitching. I wish they would go out and get another bat. Like the Cleveland Indians could still do that, and they would be a nice little ball club. But you're right, and it starts tying into expanded playoffs and what we're trying to get away from. And I retweeted it the other day. Dan Zimborski, one of the original Fangraphs and Zips guys, an OG baseball nerd. I say that in the most endearing way possible because I'm a fan of his. But, he had a beautiful thread that, players are paid largely based on whether or not they move the needle. And you need more moving the needle to have less randomness. And that's teams going out and getting players. So if we start letting, 14 teams into the playoffs, all these teams view the playoffs as a crapshoot. So you, instead of paying the difference between a Mike Trout and another center fielder, you say, oh, the other center fielder's fine. We're going to win our 85 games, get in the playoffs, and we'll try our hardest and do our best from there. But it's kind of the problem with baseball right now. You should want to have the players that differentiate, and to get them, you have to pay those guys.
Yeah.
Easy.
Pay the money. Rosario will take over for Lindor in the lineup. He'll probably slide in after J-Ram in the 3-hole. Just offensively, in the last 2 seasons, who had a higher OPS plus? Eddie Rosario or Francisco Lindor? Trev, do you have a guess?
I mean, it sounds like you're trying to trick me there. I have Eddie's stats up here. So 107, 115 are the last 2 years.
I have no tricks, Trev. Just a straight up question.
I'd imagine Lindor.
I'm thinking of like some Indians fans like, well, if Lindor was only here for 1 more year, we can just replace his bat for $7 million. And the defense, and they're like talking themselves into like the lineup's going to have the same production. So I went to look. Lindor, but it's pretty close. It's 114 OPS plus to 109 OPS plus last 2 seasons. So if you're an Indians fan, you can talk yourself into that. Like offensively, we have somewhat of the same guy hitting in 3-hole now on a 1-year deal. The Indians are still going to be pesky. Still got the pitching.
It's just really frustrating, man, because, Cesar Hernandez, we've talked about him, solid defense. He's going to get on base. Jose Ramirez can put up an MVP-type season. Rosario, he's been a lock in the AL Central to get you 25 homers and 90 RBIs for the past 5 years. Franmil Reyes is my guy. I think he's a monster. I'm still waiting for him to fully break out. The second half of that lineup, man, Josh Naylor, he had 2 really nice games against the Yankees, but his career he has a 0 WAR. lifetime.
hurting.
Roberto Perez doesn't do anything with the stick. He frames the ball really well. Awesome. Andres Jimenez, that's who they got back in the trade. Let's see it, kid. You played some nice innings for the Mets. Mercado, our guy, had a really weird year last year, so if he could bounce back, that would be big for them. And right now they have Daniel Johnson in right field, who I don't have the fully scouting report on. So, best of luck to you, Dan. But with how many free agents are still out there, like Cleveland could do something, and it's just got to be frustrating because they ain't. Prove me wrong.
They're spending $40 million now this year.
Prove me wrong, Cleveland.
So
Is that what their payroll is?
I think they're at like 35, and this bumps them up to around 40. You like that? Joc Pederson to the Cubs, kind of a similar deal. Like, Cubs lineup can be really good. Their pitching stinks now. They got rid of Schwarber, and they bring in Joc. Kind of similar guys. I think you can debate either way. Right now, everyone's obsessed with Joc so much on the Twitter sphere and like the public that I feel like he's getting overhyped, but I also like Joc, so I don't want to come off critical of him. But we were saying like he's 10 times. I don't know. It's I had to like go look like why is everyone so aggressively saying this? But it's kind of debatable either way. I don't know, Jake, you got anything on this?
It's the splits, man. I mean, I've said it on here before. Joc Pederson, career versus right-handed pitching. He's got a 849 OPS. In recent years, it's been even higher than that, which, you're going to see a right-handed starting pitcher 125 games a year that essentially you get a borderline all-star player for those 120 games. So that's why teams get excited about Joc Pederson. And we saw it in Yankee land. You see any lefty with the short porch, all Yankee fans get all sorts of horned up. I think the other secret with Joc is like his defense ain't good. It grades out in the same world as Schwarber. So, it's what are you doing with him? Are you putting him in the right position to succeed? The Dodgers were so talented at a certain point, they never had to give him at bats first left-handed pitching. So, I wonder if the Cubs give him that opportunity, if he could figure it out and become an everyday guy. I don't know, because the numbers have been pretty bad up into this point. Joc's got the potential to put up a monster season, and I guess that's maybe where people get lost in the how good is your good. Joc Pederson in 2019 hit 36 home runs, an 876 OPS. He was at the top of that Dodgers lineup against righties, and he was a monster. So that's where people get a little more excited about Joc Pederson.
I like Joc. I think he's very comparable to Rosario. Rosario's splits aren't as drastic, but I think they're very comparable players. And, I don't know what the Cubs are doing, dude. Same thing with the Indians. These are two teams that we just can't really decide where their road is leading. I mean, you just trade away, some of your best players, and at least for the Cubs, they're in a weak division. I guess you might be able to say that about the AL Central. It's definitely not as weak as the NL Central, but there's still some room, I guess, to sneak in. I don't know, man. I'm a Joc fan. I think he really relished his time in LA and kind of was like, love that big, bright lights of LA type of thing. And Chicago doesn't offer it as much, but I think it's big enough where he kind of like I said, he likes to perform in big situations. I just don't know if they're going to have a ton of them there for him. But you can use him. I don't know. I know LA tried to make him an everyday player, but you really got to pick and choose where you put him. And if you do that, like you were saying, Jake, you can get an all-star caliber player with him without exposing him to that big left-handed 570 OPS split that he has.
LA Chicago doesn't have the LA Hollywood vibe, but I mean, it's not. It can become a star in Chicago. As
absolutely,
very big baseball fan, baseball city. Like he can walk around and feel the love and be called. He started, for anyone that doesn't know the splits, like Jake said, like he crushes righties. He doesn't hit against lefties. He doesn't even get a chance to hit against lefties. In the last 3 seasons, he started 235 games. How many of those do you think came against a left-handed starting pitcher? 235 games, last 3 seasons. You have an abbreviated season there. How many do you think he started against a lefty starting pitcher?
And it's with the Dodgers. I mean, I'd say
Probably
like
not a lot.
220.
Against a lefty.
Against the lefty, so the other way.
Oh, then what did I do? 420.
20. Trav, you have a
Yeah?
guess?
Oh.
No, you're wrong.
Got excited.
I don't have a guess.
9.
35.
9.
That's the thing. I mean, and I saw MLB Network, they did a whole thing about how lefties get better versus lefties later in the career because you see it more. And it's like, he hasn't had a career versus lefties.
They haven't even given the chance to, like...
And that's where, on the opposite...
Well, they did it with Bellinger, and then he complained and said, I need to be playing every day. And then they put him every day, and he won the MVP. So maybe the Cubs are like, hey, fuck it. Let's play him every day. I don't know what their plan is with him.
He's got... In 18, he had 2 starts against a lefty, 86 against a righty. It's kind of wild. In 19, he had 109 starts, only 5 against a lefty. I wonder who the lefties were. Like, I wonder the situation that called for that. Just the same lefty every time.
Yeah, same guy, injuries. Yeah.
It's interesting because early on in his career, they let him face lefties. Like when he won, he was an all-star and had Rookie of the Year votes. He played 75 games against left-handed pitchers. So
probably just had someone on the bench they liked better. Whatever. So the Cubs are doing that. Their lineup can be pretty good, man. I mean, if they get the best out of their lineup, Ian Happ, Rizzo, Bryant, Contreras, Baez, Joc,
pretty damn good.
Hayward, and the 9-hole. Like, that's pretty good. Their pitching is a little
pretty good.
Their pitching. We did this the other episode. Their pitching, it's Hendricks. I mean, we like Zach Davies, but Alec Mills is my guy.
We were just concerned about the Phillies pitching, and I think Odorizzi would be the 2 on this team.
Yeah.
I think you could put an argument for Zach Davies. He was nice. He was really nice last year, but I'd rather have Odo in a big game. Sorry, Zach.
The Cubs also
Joc
signed Trevor
Pederson.
Williams. Sorry.
Fun fact, can I throw one out there?
Yeah.
High school football teammates with Devonta Adams.
Yeah.
And was, he was the guy. He was the
Joc was the
receiver.
dude.
Turns out Devonta Adams, one of the best receivers in all of football now. But they have a cool little connection there. I think that's a nice little tidbit.
Is Joc short for something?
Jockson.
Jacinda.
It's like Jockson Pollock.
The Jockson Pollock.
It's a great question, Jim.
Trevor Williams, friends of the pod.
no.
What? What'd you stumble into?
So it says it's Joc Russell Peterson. Okay.
Jock Russell?
Joc Russell.
That's funny.
That
That's
is
kind
funny.
of funny.
That's closer to a dog's name than your name.
What I got nervous about was his dad, who played like 1 game of pro ball, 8 games of pro baseball.
Hell yeah.
Is Stu Peterson, STU. So I thought we might just be a 3-letter family. His full name is Stewart, but he went by Stu Russell Peterson. Families.
Strussel.
Stu Russell. Joc Russell.
Jock Russell.
Look at that Joc Russell go.
I mean, there's a Dodgers fan that has a dog named Jock Russell, right?
Joc Russell Terrier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that. Trevor Williams goes to the Cubs as well.
Friend.
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 Me amo Trevor. All right.
Weird guy. In a good way.
Where did we just have
We just talked to Tyone.
Tyone on Talkin' Yanks told us that Trevor Williams would listen to like death metal on his day to pitch, like real heavy in his headphones, but so loud that everyone else could hear it, and he'd just be sitting there calmly with his leg over his knee doing a crossword with like death metal just blaring.
It's a pitcher.
Yeah, go for
Us 3 hitters,
Dude,
we
make it
hate
happen.
pitchers,
Let's get Jake excited. The Angels signed a pitcher. The Angels signed a pitcher. His name is Alex Cobb, friend of the program.
Traded for him.
Oh, they traded for him. My bad.
You were
my
getting
bad.
excited to sing the song.
Yeah, they had the lyrics written out and
Yeah.
everything. They traded for Alex Cobb. We thought Cobb might get moved at the deadline last year. 1-year deal. I mean, so this is where like it's tricky territory because the Angels are getting all the ancillary pieces or whatever. Like they still need to get a big name or an anchor.
It's happening.
Cobb and Bundy get back together.
Friends.
Ooh.
Orioles staff.
You guys know it's happening. It's happening.
Bauer to the Angels.
It makes the most sense, man. Like they have to do something.
But
They
that's
have to.
the Angels have a history of not doing what makes the most sense.
This plays into my
true.
theory of like when they got Quintana, Bauer was like, I need you to be serious and like get another like a supporting cast here. So they got Quintana, and Bauer was like, no. I mean, more than that. So now they get Cobb, and then now Bauer's like, all right, cool. I get it now.
Hey, the Angels at least look like they have a game plan. Their staff right now does look a lot different. A lot of major league names. I'm going to give them some credit. I mean, Bundy, Quintana, Cobb, and then you've got Ohtani. We'll see what happens there. Griff Canning and Haney. Like, you know, those are 6 guys who can throw MLB innings and give you a start and you don't feel bad about it. So it's a step in the right direction. You're right, Trev. I mean, the wipeout guy at the top of the rotation would make you feel better about Quintana and how healthy he is. Would make you feel better about Bundy and if last year was a fluke just because he wanted to shit down my throat.
He did too.
Alex Cobb has pitched a lot of good baseball in his career. A lot of AL East baseball. We saw him at spring training, and he was nice to us, so we will also always love him. So, yeah, it's all right. I think the Orioles are eating part of the tab, and they got a an old Angel second round pick back, so it ties into all the money shuffling that's going in baseball now. It's a move. If you pair this move with Bauer, it's a chef's kiss. If this is the final pitching move for the Angels, you're going to be nervous all year.
You know who hates Alex Cobb?
Corn.
Advanced metrics.
Sure.
He's one of the guy that has all like blue, low percentile.
Is he not a strikeout guy?
I know. There's a time when Cobb was like scary with the Rays.
Our guy Eno just put out something talking about in his last 9 starts, like he kind of figured his split back out and was pretty nasty. So I trust Eno, and I hopefully he finds that, man. That's his pitch. It's his pitch.
His last 9 starts, he only made 10 starts last year. So we just disregarding
I mean,
the
I
first
gotta
one.
go find the Eno tweet now. Dang it.
Maybe it was the last 10 starts because that's all he did last year.
Dadgummit.
Maybe it was 19, bro. I don't know.
Could have been an
Here I
older
go.
one.
Off for the search. Yeah, I mean, I like Cobb. Who did they give up? Do we have any details on the trade? Did the Orioles get anything?
Their second round pick, Cobb trade. It's a second baseman, Jemai Jones.
Jemai? Sounds like an Australian person saying my name.
You guys ready for it?
Yes, I'm ready for the Eno update.
Eno, Sandwich King Eno says, ever since he got his splitter back, so that there's no games, no 9 or 19 or anything like that.
No amount.
Ever since he got his splitter back, Alex Cobb has been sneaky good. He was one of 70 starting pitchers with above average stuff. And you listed some stat QOS plus and command plus last year.
Huge.
So there's your advanced metrics. I don't know what either of those stands for.
I think Eno got a haircut, so.
No.
Yeah, I think so.
He
Like
did,
a big
yeah,
one?
he did. Freaking love Eno.
Significant.
Oh, my God. I'll go check it out.
Yeah.
Alex Cobb split finger in the year 2020, had a batting average against of 181, a slugging of 287, and a WOBA of 234. So, yeah, the splitter was doing the damn
Throw
thing.
it every pitch.
Yeah. He's in the book.
sinker
Whatever.
wasn't.
Whoa.
Not a big deal. I took him up top. I think I took a splitter up top. Whatever.
Alex Cobb's been in my book for a while, yeah. AL East guy.
We can move on.
No, we're not moving on. I got to find Eno Saris's haircut.
Yeah.
He did. He tweeted that out. Too.
Is it his main profile pic? Or is it more
Go
significant?
follow Eno Saris on Twitter. He's a great follow. If you like beer, sandwiches, and baseball, the best.
I DM'd with Eno this weekend a little bit. Whatever.
Well, what'd you say?
I kind of can't reveal it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Whoa.
After the MLB season, I can reveal it.
After the entire of the MLB
Yeah.
season? It's about Pine Tar?
No.
Okay. Exciting. Another trade was made. The Marlins traded Jake's guy,
Yeah.
Jordan Yamamoto. One of the more fun names to say. A
Yeah.
lot of the Japanese names are super fun to say. Is he Japanese?
I think he's an American ball player. Hawaii.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Yamamoto sounds like a Japanese last name.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, Jake loves Jordan Yamamoto. And now he's in the Mets The Mets are just doing what the Angels are doing, but for their like 4 through 7 pitchers, just getting guys, just building up the depth there, which is smart because they have the top talent.
Send me up, call me down. Trev, we're friends. Confirm.
Confirm it, Trev.
Yeah, we're confirmed.
Okay.
Friends.
Because, I mean, some people in the YouTube were like, I think Trevor hates Jake. And is like, yeah, they're kind of right. But, Trev.
I don't hate you.
When Yamamoto comes up 2019 with the Florida Fish, right? And he comes out and he's gangbusters. His first 5 starts, he comes out. They're 4-1, 29 innings pitched, a 1.24 ERA. Opponents are hitting 117. And this is right when we started talking baseball, and I was like, if this kid was doing this on the Yankees or the Red Sox or the Mets or the Dodgers, people would be screaming how this guy's the future, this guy's next. Since then, he's gotten beat up and hit around a little bit, and I don't think the advanced metrics like him. But I do think there is that perspective of like, whoa, if that guy came out and shoved his first 5 starts for the Yankees, people would have lost their damn mind. So that being said, the advanced metrics don't love him. We'll see what happens. The Mets get another call up, call down guy. And I don't know, he's still really young. I mean, he's 24 years old. So if he's thrown some MLB innings, figure it out, Yami.
You know how he was your guy after that start? Well, Kwang Hyun Kim is my guy.
It's your guy.
Because I think if he did what he did for the Cardinals last year in a non-shortened season, the Cardinals are big enough that when it should have been like, no, but he should have been talked about. Dude had a sub-2 ERA.
Yeah.
He only started 8 games, obviously, because it's a shortened season, but came over. So that's my guy. You're Yamamoto. I'm Kim. Trev, you have to get a guy.
Well, was Jake going to ask me a question? Because he like...
I just kind of, I was looking at your face and I thought you're beautiful, and I thought it was also, I'm kind of taking a dig at the New York market, which is something you like.
Okay, no, I love New York. New York loves me. We're all good.
Okay,
Don't put that on us right now.
Trev,
I'll remember that.
Do I have a guy that should turn it up, that had it for a little bit but lost it? Let me think. Dustin May. I think he should be a Cy Young winner, man.
fancy.
He should be in the Dodgers rotation winning the Cy Young. I don't know. He didn't like lose it per se, but he's got the stuff that should.
Your guys' 2 pitchers are a lot better than my pitcher.
Yeah, you chose too early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a tough break by you. So just to clear the air again, Trev, you don't hate Jake?
I don't hate Jake at all. I'm positive today. You guys know that there's a lot of negative news out there. I'm trying to keep this show positive. Don't slander my relationship with New York either. We have a very good relationship. New York and I have seen some things together. I've walked the streets at 5 a.m. eating beautiful slices of pie.
I thought you were going to say Brazilian women, yeah.
What?
Like cannibal. I just thought you were going to say that, but I didn't know. I wasn't sure. Trev, a lot of people said that me and you were being mean to each other a couple episodes ago.
Are we all cool?
And I was really taken back by the comments there. I was like, what? We had Trev and I went at each other? I didn't. Commenters like violence
too.
What's that?
I see the comments too. I don't know why we're allowed to disagree and talk back and forth. That's the whole show.
It cracks me up.
This is why we need a spring training trip. We'd all be hugging and hacky sacking and
I always fuck. What did I say to Trev? I was like asking Jake, was I mean to Trev?
Yeah.
Well, unlike you guys, I've actually lost a friend from podcasting. So.
Wow. Hey, I could have
We're
lost
working
many.
on that.
Maybe I lost them on purpose.
Of war.
Meanwhile, a friend of ours, Sean Doolittle, signed with the Reds. We don't know the money on this contract yet, but it seems like they're just going to try and trade him. The Reds, what's that?
Sorry to all our Reds fans.
I think the Reds have a lot of guys they should be trading. They're clearly not trying to win. Trade Amir Garrett. Trade Sean Doolittle halfway through the season. Fuck. Trade Moose. Trade everyone. You guys suck. I was rooting.
Reds.
Wait, I was rooting for the Reds. I think if you go back last season, we're like, fuck yeah. I love every move they're making. And then they just blew it. And then they played the most boring, excruciating 18-inning game I've ever seen where they just looked pathetic in the playoffs. And now I'm still off them slightly. And they traded some people this year. I was like, really? you're backing out this quickly. So yeah, I'm still a little sour on the Reds.
We were all over the Reds last year.
I got because we wanted to be Reds fans, and then they fucking spit in everyone's face. Like, just joking.
What a weird 2 years for them. They really kind of went all in. They went out and got Moose. They went out and got Castellanos. We were saying, man, you don't want to face this team in the playoffs. That's what we kept saying. You do not want to face this team in the playoffs. They made the playoffs, and then it didn't happen.
No hitting. They didn't hit at all.
And then they got rid of everybody.
Hey, I'm still a little sympathetic because they really built everything up for last year, and they got the worst year ever. But no, I mean this team right now does nothing for me. We like Doolittle. They got a couple guys in the bullpen who turned around, but yeah, I mean Reds, you got to show us at this point. You gotta get 5 games above 500 this season, and we'll start getting excited about Reds baseball.
We love Doolittle.
Love Doolittle.
Yeah.
I like Doolittle, yeah. I like Trevor, too.
Trev, I've got a question.
Yeah, do one more fun question before we get into bad guy stuff.
Fun question before we get into bad guy stuff. Sean Doolittle signs a 1-year deal with the Cincinnati Reds.
Fact.
What's his living situation? Is he going to rent an apartment for a year? Do you rent an apartment do you try to find a 6-month lease? What's the game plan?
Are some people hotel guys? Just get a penthouse for... No, okay.
If you're up and down, you might have a hotel because you don't want to put, get your stuff into somewhere. But for a guy like Sean, he just is looking for a short-term lease, 6 months, 7 months. Most of the time they have realtors that, understand the deal, and they'll find people and find houses for you. But yeah, he'll have a nice little place and have a good time there. I think, I don't know.
I found out that my neighbor rented out their second unit or in-law suite, whatever you want to call it, to Mel Stottlemyre while he was the Yankees pitching coach. So
there you go.
Yankee
it's a
street.
strange thing. You just find housing wherever you can find housing, man.
I lived at a Homewood Suites for 3 months.
We should ask him in a little bit.
That happens a lot, Jim. AAA guys will get in the Homewood Suites because they only have to pay for the days they're there.
It was awesome, man. I was in college at the time. I was watching my parents moved middle of the year, and my sister had to finish her senior year, so I switched colleges and lived with her in a Homewood Suite. So otherwise she would have to move for half of back end of her senior year. But it was beer and food for free every night. Homewood Suites. And then this one dude was there for a business trip, and we would play pickleball together. I was 19, and he was 35.
Remember your pickleball?
And I was
friend.
he was a sad guy.
Have you guys reconnected?
No, I got a little creeped out because I was you shouldn't want to hang out with me, dude.
He's just trying to play some pickleball.
Then he was buying me beers and stuff.
And then you guys would go to the courts after.
Ooh.
I lived in a Homewood Suites my last professional baseball experience in Lehigh Valley. I did. The Phillies AAA. Lived in the Homewood Suites.
Brought to you by Homewood
Did I have
Suites.
a roommate? No, I didn't have a roommate.
My first day at the Homewood Suites was April Fool's Day, and I was me and my sister, and I did this so she would have to finish whatever. Obviously, I was being a nice guy. I also had friends in town, and it was April Fool's Day, so I switched all of the furniture in her bedroom upside down, obviously. And then I was out playing pickleball or something when she came home, and she bawled her eyes out and flipped it all back over herself. Obviously, I would have flipped it back over and cried and said, living with Jimmy is going to be a nightmare. And then I was like, Grits, it's April Fool's. And I would have flipped it back over. But I ruined the whole thing.
Pranks.
Unbelievable.
Tough times. Mickey Callaway's a bad guy. Mickey Callaway has 5-year history of being a predator to multiple female reporters, asking for their phone number, or just straight up getting their phone number from the Mets PR and then texting them shirtless pictures of himself and weird advances and just a pathetic predator loser. And this sucks. There's probably 100 more of these guys out there in the baseball world. Let's not be naive about it. Let's just get them all the fuck out. Weed them out. And I was trying to think of something to say here because it sucks for all of the victims that they have to do this. And they were very anonymous in this one. And then, that's a lot of pressure. Obviously in the Porter one, she didn't want to do it forever and she wanted to stay anonymous as well. And I was like, hey, it'd be cool if the next guy, because everyone says it's the worst kept secret in MLB. Well, how many more worst kept secrets are there floating around? How about the next guy gets outed by like some male peers and like, hey, you know what? I know that this guy has harassed these women, so the victims don't have to go through it. But then I was like, maybe they don't want that because if the victims don't want to be part, I don't know. But this sucks. It just sucks that I think this is going to keep happening. But I also, let's just unhook the valve and get all these fucks out of here. And if you're listening to this and you do this stuff, please just stop and don't harass people. It's like the simplest concept. Don't annoy people. Don't harass people. Don't use, if you have any power over someone else, to do it. You know? He was doing this to reporters who worked his beat. It's not like he went to like a restaurant and hit on a waitress and it went well at first. That would still be bad, but he's definitely used his power here to make them feel uncomfortable. Fuck Mickey Callaway.
Yeah. I don't really have a take other than he's a D-bag. I mean,
we heard a lot of things about him, and all we had heard was that he's a D-bag. I mean,
I never really heard that. I played against him a ton when he was in Cleveland. I never, like, the worst kept secret. I never heard anything about it.
Well, we didn't hear this stuff, but we heard the word. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't say this. The word that I heard a lot was just sleazeball.
Just like,
yeah, I mean, now that we know, like, we see this shit in the article, yeah, like douchebag, sleazeball, what else? We can call him a bunch of names.
Literally, he was literally like the movie character of the bad male in society that we're trying to get rid of. Like, you know, not necessarily a numbers guy, and here's a picture of me chopping wood, and you know, you like that smiley face with the next to the exclamation point, like. It's a loser. I mean, it goes back, the same thing with Porter. Like, there's not even a solution. Like, there's no, it's not go to rehab. It's not like get better. It's like, what the hell, man? So, yeah, I don't know why he's still not technically fired. I mean, he needs to be, and that hasn't been reported yet. We're, 18 hours away, has it?
Passon said it's like expected.
Yeah, it
hasn't
is.
happened.
It is, but I was kind of, people were getting on Cohen with the shot clock when they didn't hire Porter, but that broke at night, and then the first thing in the morning he fired him. Like, this happened like kind of dinner time on the West Coast. I don't know. Who cares? The dude sucks, and yeah, I don't know. Let's just get it out of the sport completely.
Yeah, the Angels don't want me coming after
And the
them.
world. Get it out of the
hate
world.
the Angels front office management, whatever you want to call it. They are on my shit list. So they better do the right thing here. I'll end this with saying, yes, like the wielding the power thing is what's really wrong with this whole situation. Besides like the sleazy text, like I showed Olivia, like, look at this guy. Like I showed the article and stuff, and she's like, "Why do guys do that?" She's like, "Do you think I want a picture of your pecs? Like, do you think that's gonna get me going?" Like, so not only are you,
I think it's because he's lonely and sad.
You're just being like dumb about it. Like, you're so like, I don't know. I said this before with Porter. Like, stop being so fucking desperate. Like, I don't know, man. Just a horrible situation. Sorry for the victims. You have to put up with this shit.
Yeah, real dumb. Just start mocking him. I don't even know if that's a solution.
Yeah.
Like if he sends the shirtless chainsaw pic, to like try to be predatory, I think you just say something like, "Why the fuck would you chainsaw with your shirt off? You're dumb."
Yeah. Stop sucking in your gut. You don't have abs.
That was your initial reaction to that picture, and let's not focus on the sucking in the gut, because I've seen other people do that in pictures. And
That's not the crime here.
He's just a D-bag.
He's the worst.
Yeah.
Fire him.
Like a full-grown male with a wife and doing it to like reporters. Dude, you know what? The industry has a problem with giving out phone numbers. You know how many times I've gotten phone calls from people that I didn't give my number to from like within companies and organizations? It's creepy. I got stuff shipped to me at my apartment, and it's very nice. They're giving gifts and stuff, but it's just like, why is this freely exchanged? Why can the head of this company just get my phone number and my address, and whoever gives it to them just gives it to them? I don't know. I mean, it's creepy. So fuck the PR team that just gave Mickey Callaway these female reporters' phone number. Stop doing that.
It's a great point.
Yeah.
Great point.
So, like, the Mets are saying, like, we're not involved. We didn't know. Well, whoever the fucking gave Mickey the phone numbers, that guy's involved. Guilty by being a dickhead. I don't know the correct term.
Yeah. I guess you could say that person, you would hope they didn't know Mickey Callaway was going to send harassing pics. They could have been writing a pitching
yeah, you don't know that you don't
So let's not.
You don't know the timeline there, but they did. The
him.
Mets did have an incident that they looked into in 2018 and then rehired him in 2019 or something like that. Gross. We also have that Daniel Murphy and Dustin Pedroia retired.
We should have done this before we went into Mickey Callaway. 'Cause now I'm pissed, and I want to talk about PD a little bit. I mean,
Say stuff.
Tell me how you guys felt about him, because obviously he was a nemesis for a long time for you guys, and he won a lot of championships right in your face. But he's so endearing. Like, in my eyes, you got to like root for a guy like that. Did you feel that way?
Yep. Short guys stick together. Altuve was my favorite player until all the cheating stuff came out, and my favorite non-Yankee player. And Pedroia, always like a thorn in your side that you enjoyed being there. You just kind of wanted to get reminded that, like, oh yeah, that guy fucking exists. So it's a short guy thing, though. I mean, I root for short guys.
You wanted,
except pitchers.
I think for Yankee fans, you went to, if this dude was in pinstripes, I mean, he would have been like a religion for me. He would have been, the closest thing I have to the good man upstairs. What was that, David?
Yeah, I mean, I was like a kid during his prime and stuff, and even then, when you're like the most emotional about it, I was like, I'm a short second baseman, like that guy.
Yeah,
I always called him my favorite player on the Red Sox.
Yeah, his interviews are legendary. Like the Laser Show interview is the best. And if anybody doesn't know what I'm talking about, go Google Laser Show interview. Basically, reporters are asking Pedroia about Big Poppy's slow start to the season, and he's like, he'll be fine. He goes, you guys were saying the same thing 2 years ago when I was hitting a $179. Then what happened? Laser Show. And it's true. It's the truth. He spoke the truth all the time. And I love that. What's happening now is everyone's putting their favorite PD stories out there, their favorite interview clips from him. And he's just like, it's classic stuff, man. So, hell of a career. He was always really nice to me. Didn't have to be. We shared the spring training city together. So, see the dudes out at Blue Sushi. And always a good dude. So congrats to both them, Pedroia and Murphy.
I have
former roommate Jeff worked at Blue Sushi for a while.
Did he?
Yeah.
Nice. I have something going on in my head now.
Okay.
Are a lot of the Red Sox stars short guys? Does that play to the Red Sox like blue collar, grit and grind, lunch pail philosophy? I mean, you got Mookie, you got Pedro, you got Petey. I was trying to, obviously Ortiz is a mammoth of a human, but I was trying to think like those are the first
Manny.
Kind of like
the first couple I thought of were Mookie and Pedro, and then I was like, and Pedroia.
Devers and Bogarts are
probably normal
to
size.
big sized humans. Benny was supposed to be the successor, and he's fallen off.
How tall's Benny? 5'9"?
Listed 5'10". Listed 5'9".
Listed 5'9".
Easy on Benny. He'll be fine.
Maybe.
In what sense?
He's still a really good baseball player.
Compared to the rest of the world.
JBJ's not
He's
that
fallen
tier,
off
but
compared
5'10".
to like, the league.
Well, yeah, maybe there were some unrealistic expectations with him, but
Came in hot.
Yeah, he came in hot.
That's a weird thing in baseball. That might have to be some sort of Jomboy media article, because they did they were MLB The Show cover. Tatis came out hot. We like that.
The chat says Nomar was short and Devers is 5'11".
I don't think Nomar was short.
I don't think he was either.
Yeah, don't let the chat get
Wasn't
you
he?
there.
Wasn't Nomar part of like the tall shortstop revolution?
Chat monster got you there.
you guys, he had a bad 2020. Other than that, he's been fine.
Benny?
Yeah.
He's been like, isn't he exactly league average?
I mean, 835 OPS, 776, 830, 774, and then he had a 442. Not great this year, Benny. Okay, we know that, but throw that out the window.
Yeah, I
107
mean,
OPS
but
plus.
19 and 17 were like exactly league average.
I mean, you're talking about his
We were discussing
his
some.
bat, but he's good defensively as well.
No,
he's
we
not.
looked into that. His defensive numbers.
He's got
have kinda
positive
stunk.
defensive WARs for his career.
Plays one of the easier outfield spots, and the metrics don't love him. And there's articles written about how he bulked up and blah blah.
Hopefully he bounces back. How about that?
Positive. Plouffe says
Positive.
buy stock in Benintendi.
The trick is you can't get too hot too early. Early Benny looked like he was going to be the next, Red Sox short king that we're just talking about. And MLB Network was talking about MLB The Show, Tatis on the cover, hot. And they were saying this person who was on the cover of MLB The Show had the most hits in a month since Joe DiMaggio. And I'll let you guys think on it.
Say it one more time.
A person who was on the cover of MLB The Show had the most hits in a month of baseball since Joe DiMaggio.
So the first hint does nothing for me. I don't think I know any covers of MLB The Show, so just had the most hits in a month since Joe DiMaggio.
I guess they'd have to be good enough to be on the cover of MLB The Show. It's not going to be totally random.
They were a known
I'm out.
player.
I have no
Those
idea.
are Altuve.
Any idea, BBD?
Well, I'm guessing you're bringing it up because we're talking about Pedroia.
Oh, no. It's I was talking about getting good too early. Yasiel Puig. He was on the cover of MLB The Show. He came up and he was like the story of baseball. And that's where we're in this weird spot with Puig that he doesn't get the love he deserved. But that's because we thought he was going to be a generational superstar.
Oh, like when we say Jason Dominguez is going to be Mickey Mantle, Mike Trout, and Bo Jackson?
Hey.
Is that what we're doing?
You're talking to the right guys, man.
What's going on with that?
Dude,
It's messed up.
if anyone doesn't know, they put MLB account put out, and they were like, Jason Dominguez comps. He's like the 36th ranked prospect. He's 17.
Never played a minor league baseball game.
He's never played a minor league baseball game, and his comps are Mickey Mantle. Who was the other ones? Mike Trout.
Bo Jackson. Bo Jackson, one of the best athletes of all time. Bo Jackson.
It's messed, dude. It's really messed up. Like I know we're kind of laughing, but I would really like to find out who put that graphic together and say like, hey, you're being incredibly rude right now. Like,
Hey,
stop.
let me ask you this. How does that guy, I mean, if you go check out the tweets and all this stuff that shows like his workouts that he's doing. How does a guy that's that thick run a 6'3", 60? What? Maybe he is Bo Jackson.
That's why they call him the Martian Trev. All right, I can't do Martian talk.
Jom's freaked out by him because of exactly what you just said.
I
It
don't
doesn't
want
add
the
up.
baseball cards. I want to be really good.
I hate when Yankees have prospects that are this hyped. It's nothing but a disaster. And we get calls on Talkin' Yanks all the time. Like we got calls when he was 16. There's like, call back when he's in AA.
Let's talk in 2023.
Like I don't even talk about prospects in rookie ball. He hasn't played him. Whatever.
he turns
It's gonna be.
Is he gonna debut ever? Like, what's up?
turns
People are
eight.
still like calling for him. It's like, hey, maybe
Yankees-
if he doesn't come up in the next 5 years, he's not late.
Yankees fans are assholes already, and to tell them that they have a 17-year-old
Didn't say that.
that's supposed to be the next best thing. I mean, this happened to Phil Hughes. Phil Hughes got projected to be Roger Clemens. That's what everyone said about Phil Hughes. They said, is the next Roger Clemens, is the next Roger Clemens. He pitched a no-hitter in his second game for the Yankees before he got hurt. And it's just, stop. There's one team out there whose front office says, like, if you give me a minor league player comp to a Hall of Famer, you're kicked out of the room immediately. Just don't do it. So, pisses me
Love
off.
Phil Hughes.
Love Phil
him.
Hughes. We're a big Phil Hughes pod. Everyone loves Phil. It would be funny if that executive room, everyone brought like borderline Hall of Famers. It's like,
Barry Bonds.
Todd Helton.
Yeah.
Clemens. Good news is Dominguez turns 18 on Sunday. So basically ready.
I just can't imagine. He looks like
Ready to buy lotto tickets.
Gimli, son of Gloin,
Hey.
No, his body doesn't make
Good.
sense, and I'm worried about it. Trev.
Hey.
who does say in the movie, dwarves are natural sprinters, very dangerous over short distances.
Yeah.
Baseball. Short distance sprints.
hey, inside the park home run basically is end zone, end zone.
So
Jason
don't hit
Dominguez,
those.
baby. Be good because I got your card. I'm trying to sell it.
You've invested in him.
Check out Phil's polls. One of Phil's good friends.
And they're opening a Canadian Phil's polls. So everyone go follow that on Twitter.
Late night on Twitter for Jake's polls. No cards.
That's your OnlyFans account.
That's my OnlyFans.
Jake's polls. That's everything we have. Thank you guys very much for tuning in. We appreciate it. Ken Griffey Jr. was hired by MLB to do something because they're in a fight with the Players Union. They're just trying to steal representatives, and it's kind of part of the nonsense, in my honest opinion.
Make the game cool, Ken.
But good job by Ken Griffey Jr. You got another ally, MLB. Recruiting.
I hope.
Recruiting. Like, what are the Players Union going to do? They're going to start recruiting Bud Selig? Like, Bud Selig now represents the Players Union?
I thought about this a lot. Like, what does this mean? And I'm hoping it just means some sort of bipartisanship, but I think it's more of a press tactical move. But, you know, all these guys are like stand up, like very well respected people in baseball. Raul Ibanez has had every role you could ever think of. And now he's in the MLB office. So, like I said, hopefully this leads to some, you know, handshakes across the aisle, if you will. I don't think it will. But, you know, there's a little bit of hope. Griffey, to me, was awesome. And everyone's saying Theo. Everyone's saying Theo for the next commissioner. Griffey for next commissioner. Let's have a baseball player up there. Why do we have to have some suit?
Theo for GM or whatever came up with, Boris came up with that idea. CEO. And then the commissioner just handles all the disciplinary shit and all the nonsense, and the CEO actually starts to spread love for the game and grow it into new properties and new areas. Clearly should be two different roles. Boris says a lot of stuff that's wacky. This one makes so much sense. Have a CEO in charge of growth and partnering and the future, and have a commissioner to regulate all the nonsense and the contracts and the agreements. I mean, pretty dumb. But asking baseball to do something different is basically like asking me to be taller than 5'7". I just put boots on.
Just put boots on, kids.
Snow season.
TPP polls out.
TPP poll is out. Go rank them.
Rank 'em.